Hello. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the virtual Sunday service for the Journey Within Spiritualist Church. I am your host, Dr. Ellen Shander from the Journey Within, and I'll be hosting today's service with our honored guest, our own pastor, Reverend Joseph Shiel. It's a pleasure to work with him and to have him here.
Thank you.
So, as we are a spiritualist church, we begin our service with spiritualist healing, conducted virtually, as our healers are with us today. And if you'd like to request healing for somebody, please put their first name and only their last initial in the chat box. Please do not include last names for privacy. And if you wish, please add names for your pets, global issues, the planet, anything that you choose from your heart. We'll open with prayer, followed by a period of quiet meditation. And if you'd like to participate in the healing, please quiet yourself, focus on your breathing, and as you inhale, feel yourself boosting your own immune system and igniting the inner healing within. And let me join us with prayer. Dear God, we join together in prayer, asking for healing for all of our brothers and sisters who are suffering and in need of healing. We ask that their suffering be eased in some way. We also pray for healing of the minds and hearts of all people. May we learn to be kinder, gentler, and more compassionate. May we learn to see your beauty within ourselves, within all living things, and within all your creation. May we learn to honor through our thoughts and actions, and may we learn to be ambassadors for healing while we walk this earth, and especially healing and peace to all corners of the earth where there is war and suffering. May peace prevail. Amen. As we come to the end of healing, we will continue to remember and pray for those who are suffering and all who are in need. Amen. If you would like to request healing for anyone during the course of the week, please email or call the church with their names, and we will forward them to the healers who pray for healing for the days, weeks, and months to come. Thank you to all of our healers. So, welcome again. I'm Ellen Shander from the Journey Within, hosting today's service, and we are here with our own pastor, Reverend Joseph Shiel, who has been in the spiritualist ministry for over 30 years, and he continues to grow, lead, teach, and ordain the truth and love in spiritualism. So we invite you, we're so delighted to have you, to open in prayer. We'll play the opening song, and then we'll listen to your address. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ellen. I appreciate it very much. Good morning, everybody. If you'd spend a few quiet moments with me as I say a prayer for all of us, for all the world. Spirit, God, we ask you to be with us today, in our midst, to emerge from our quiet and unseen world, to touch upon us in our senses and let us know you. Let us know your continuation of life. Let us know the promise of love, the promise of peace, promise of life to come. We thank you today for all the genuine, heartfelt thoughts we have for all those suffering in the world, those marginalized, those put aside, those left less than, those in places of war and suffering, starvation, and horror, those in fear, those up against the monsters of life. I ask today that you be mindful of those around you who may be quietly and invisibly suffering inside of them, their own selves, beating on who they are instead of championing the life they've been given. For those who are confused, who have been pushed to the limits of their own stresses, those who quietly want out because they can't see the joy here. If we could only be that joy for them, be that love that they need, be that hug or that smile that might bring maybe a few more moments of hope, of understanding, of togetherness. This morning, as we come together on this virtual church, I'm sitting at the Journey Within while the ceremony is going on in the other room. And as I met some people this morning coming in the door, I knew that people coming out in the weather that we're having down here and making the effort to come and seek something better, something higher, something more promising, something not so frightening, something of comfort, place of peace. I ask you all today to choose peace in your life, peace in everything you do. Try not to play too much with the wounds. They'll only get worse. Look more to what's hopeful and what's your life, your every breath. This morning, be the love the world needs. Amen. Good morning, everybody. You know, I asked Ellen to play that song for good reason. One is around the anniversary of my mother's death many, many years ago when I was 12. And that brought to mind very heavily the time I spent in hospice with my dad before he died many years ago as well. And I remembered all the mistakes that I had made. And I knew his. I knew his mistakes. I knew where he failed. I knew where he faltered. And yet I love him dearly. And he loved me, even though I don't know, if I really ever made him proud. And all the confusion of the world and all around us, what that did for me when I thought of that was bring to mind, what are we so worried about, and how can we move away from the worry and the pain and the overwhelming negative energy around us? It's incredible how much we are inundated with media and with uh, the feelings and emotions and attitudes of people these days all around the world, not just in our local areas, but throughout our families and on out into the world. People are afraid. The monsters are here. The monsters we see on TV, the monsters we hear on talk radio, the monsters we run into with slid opinions of insanity at best. And what can we do to ease the pain and the erosion of our own patience, our own tolerance, our own understanding of what's going on, the fears? What can we do to quiet the monsters within us? The monsters that take us to anger or to rage or to even more dangerous places. The monsters that bring some folks to violence and destruction. The monsters that bring people to childish name calling and hurts and slicing and dicing of people's attitudes and nuances. This morning I drove into the church for quite a ways, and I was coming down out of the mountains basically, and it was snowing and icing, and I didn't know if we'd make it. It was a tremendous amount of ice on the road. There was several accidents, very bad accidents, and everybody had their flashers on and was slowing down. And I said, yeah, I might be a little bit late, and I just kind of walked in just before this, so I was by the hair, coming in. But by the same token, I said, maybe that's what we need to do, is just slow down. It's icy out there. It's slick. People are being slick, sneaky, hooray for me, not you, that type of thing. And it's time for us to honor who we are and honor the life we have. My dad used to tell me, he was a banker, he was a CEO of a bank, and he used to tell me all the time since a little boy, Joe, you take care of the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. And I used to think about that and I used to think, in other words, if we take care of the little things, maybe the big things will be okay. Maybe we'll see it better because we've appreciated and we have a gratitude, a gratefulness for those little things. And immediately what came into my mind is about 23 days ago, I became a grandpa again. And Dylan James is his name, 8 pounds, 2 ounces, and 21 inches long. And he's a beautiful little guy. He's a little thing. Matter of fact, it's what 20 some odd days later, and he's now my size. When I was born, I was 10 pounds, 8 ounces. My poor mother. Okay. But besides that, he's still little. And it's amazing how the joy comes out of people's faces all around my family, the people that have met him. I just, things that my daughter puts on Facebook or whatever, just the cute stuff, but it's little, but it makes such a big difference. It gives such a heartfelt hope to everyone in the family. No matter what the tragedies, no matter what the horrors of the past, no matter what the losses, no matter what the fears, the monsters within each of us, they kind of go away because there's a new little one in the room. If we pay attention to the little things in life and appreciate them as we go forward, we can build quite a wealth of joy and hope and understanding and patience and of tolerance in our lives. I'm one that often is thinking in big terms, or running and racing all around trying to get a whole bunch of things done, and then I'm exhausted, and then I'm aggravated, and then I'm upset, and then I'm looking at, oh geez, and before you know it, the attitude goes to he double hockey sticks. It's like, what am I going to do here? It's just so much going on until I take a simple thing, a little thing, a breath, just a breath. Or maybe I have a sip of hot coffee that I can actually drink and enjoy, or a cup of tea. Maybe I sit on one of my plush chairs and just relax for a second. Maybe I can pick up a good book and read a few passages, or a brilliant poem that brings me back to life again. Maybe I can look out at the lawn or out at the grass or the trees and say, I'm pretty pretty lucky to be on the right side of that grass today. So many have gone before me, and I have opportunity to change, opportunity to increase and evolve not only my physical self, you know, maybe push away from the cake, even though another little thing that I like and it can always make me feel better. But I can push away and I can say, maybe it's time to do what my dad used to tell me when I was young. He says, "What are you doing all those diets for?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to lose weight, Dad." He goes, "Why don't you just push yourself away from the table?" No. It's those little comments, those little things that we've been told, those little things that we forget sometimes, that if we were to hold on to them, if we were to cherish them as gifts in our life, the little things will hold us up. They will bring the big hope, the big understanding, the patience, and the tolerance for a world gone mad. The world's always been mad. People are people. Human beings are filled with monsters. The monsters of selfishness, self-centeredness, craziness. This is a way to really bring ourselves slowly but surely by enjoying the little things. I have a vehicle with a heated steering wheel. I never appreciated that. It's like, what do I need that for? But this morning when it was icy out, I really appreciate my heated steering wheel. Lucky to have it. How many people even have a car or a steering wheel at all. It's not about comparing myself to others. It's about appreciating all the blessings and understandings and gratitude for what it is I have today. That I have this moment, that I have this minute, that I have this voice. I can talk. I can still see you, even though I'm legally blind. I can still see, you know. I went to a new doctor in the new area that I've moved to down here by the church, and I went to a new doctor yesterday, and I brought this whole long list. I should have brought it to show you, but long list of, you know, conditions, if you will, from my years of football and boxing and hockey and you know, here and there throughout the world. And oh my God, the wounds, the stitches that I've had. And I gave a long list, and the doctor came in and she goes, "Why did you give that to my nurse? You're scaring the daylights out of her." I said, "Well, I let's just say I'm a klutz, you know. I kind of go down once in a while, you know." She goes, "You're lucky you're here." And I said, "You know something? You're right. I really am lucky I'm here. I'm lucky I have another day to say hello to somebody, to give a smile, to shake a hand. How grateful I am that life continues, no matter what joints in my body are sore, or you know what is going on with me today, or what broke in the house, or whatever the case may be. I mean, yeah, I can catch myself up on those things, and I can start being really ornery and really not okay. Look at me, you know, this victimhood that some people take on. Look at the mess it causes. Look at the bomb that goes off with that kind of attitude with people. Look at the look at the way things twist and turn and become false, become hopeless, become dangerous. And look at the monster, how it feeds upon that within us. We no longer have to feed the monsters. What we need to do is feed our hearts and our souls, feed the love within us, just by appreciating the little things around us. Everything you can imagine is just incredible when you start to look at the things. I was thinking about how I saw the baby for the first time last week, and I put my finger into its little hand, and how it wrapped its little fingers around, and I'm counting, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got them all cool, you know, and I'm like, wow, these are the miracles that give us hope if we pay attention. We can fly by them worried about our monsters, or we can sit still and look at all the gifts that we've been given, the people in our lives. I think about my first girlfriend in high school. She dumped me. I don't blame her. But by the same token, what I what gratitude I have for our first kiss, you know, our first hug. I felt like, wow, I'm growing up. I'm going to be okay. And so many things beyond that, you know, the struggle of learning to play guitar, and then finally a song comes forward and I begin to write more poetry and more things. These are the things we can do if we just take one thing at a time. Keep it simple, smarty, they used to tell me. I had the man tell me one time when I was in really a lot of trouble and pain and everything else. And he sat with me, and he was a deacon, and he was the one that encouraged me to go into the seminary in the first place. And he said, he says, keep it keep it simple, smarty. He goes, you're just smart enough to destroy yourself. And I heard that and went, whoa, he's right. I'm racing with the wind, trying to be all that, trying to save the world. It's like, have I even looked at saving me first? Am I good enough for others? Have I championed me to be okay, to be loving others? Do I really have a compassion and caring for others? Or am I so spinning around like an idiot that I don't even notice others because, oh, it's all about me? No. Today I choose to pay attention and keep it simple. The little things, the little things that matter. The fact that I got here today, the truck held up and the tires held the road. You know, the fact that I'm sitting here with my little cup of coffee and somebody brought me a Starbucks. So, talk about reminding me of Janet Havoc. My goodness, you know, I used to tell her she had a worse habit with Starbucks than some heroin addicts. For God's sake, she had so many coffees in the morning. But we love to laugh about that. What about that laughter? What about a little laugh? What about the comment from a friend? You know, a genuine friend on Facebook that gives a bit of wisdom for a moment. It may only be 2 seconds as just flipping through your phone, but it's enough to give you that go juice to keep going, to keep maybe stay in there and keep up the good fight, if you will. It's all about coming to those little things of life and really know it. That first breath of the day, you know, that little nod you give somebody or somebody gives you. Not everybody's going to give us an attaboy or attagirl, way to go. But can we? Can we say, I forgive them today? I don't have to worry about that anymore. So what if they owe me? Forget about it. I need to go forward. I can't go back. The things we do with anger and with frustration and resentment is we throw down anchors to our past. And I'm a sailor, and there's talk about little things. How about just watching the sails in the sunset on the horizon of a beautiful ocean, smelling the salt water, hearing a wave crash, and seeing the foam fizz along the beach. These are things of beauty, of miracles, of gift, if you will, of grace, if you will. But I think about that and I think about, wow, how lucky I am to wade it into an ocean and felt it upon my legs or seen across the lake, Great Lakes. I recently was talking about some people. I lost a good friend just recently, a few weeks ago, and she had a home up in Maine, and the Maine coast has been destroyed. Old fishing shacks and harbors are just being destroyed with 7 inches of rise in the ocean's sea levels, and these storms are just taking out things that have been there for hundreds of years that I grew up with as a little boy. And one man said the only thing that was, that he sees is the emotional pain. That other people can come to the beach and they wouldn't have known it's missing because it's gone. But with him, there's an emotional haze, if you will, of what was once and what isn't there. And I said, if he holds on to that, then he'll bury himself in the beach. But if he looks to what can be and what could be and what's going on and becomes active in a solution, active in what could be better, what could be more, then all will be well. And how do you start? You start with an attitude of gratitude, an attitude every day of appreciating, well, yep, things have gone by. I've lost loved ones. I love them dearly. But what would they have me do? Would they have me sit in my pain and sob my tears and wallow in my own monsters? Or would they have me stand up and walk away from the monsters into the light of God, into the light of love, into the light of kindness, into the light of generosity, into the light of forgiveness, into the light? One candle in a room can illuminate the truth of what's going on in that room. I, for one, don't choose to sit in the darkness anymore. Done it way too often in my life, talk about mistakes and monsters. But I would ask you this week, stop worrying about all the big stuff going on. Start worrying about, what am I grateful for? What really is going on around me that's good? So what about the scratch in the table? You've got a table. So what about the food's not so great? You got food. This morning I stopped and got a little treat on the ways for my ride. And once again, the young person or person behind the window didn't give me a napkin in that fast food joint. Now, when I get a napkin, I'm grateful for that little thing. It's so simple. Keep it that way. And when it comes to loving yourself for the sake of others, keep that simple, solid, and real. You are an enormous influence on this world, each and every one of you, because you take care of the little things, like the ones you love, the animals you love and care about. My cat was chasing around a ball this morning. It's funny as anything. That little piece of humor, even though most of the time I'm complaining about cleaning up litters and everything else, that little piece of makes it all worth it. A dog chasing its trail or chasing after a ball, the horse that nudges somebody and almost knocks them over because they don't know their own strength. All of nature, all around us, is giving us little things, like the flowers of a garden. If we all look at the little things, the world can be beautiful, not as ugly as we've been experiencing lately. It can be beautiful, but it's up to you. Thank you so much for listening this morning.
Thank you so much, Pastor Joe. Your wisdom and the way you look at the world really touches our hearts. The chat is filled with people who appreciate you and have sent thank you and
Thank you.
gratefulness. So thank you so much. It's always difficult to change energies after a homily like that. So I appreciate everything you said. We do have announcements to do. So we now come to our collection first, and there are two boxes on the screen. One is for donations, and the other is to become a member of the Journey Within. And please join us because you get special emails and announcements, and we would love to have you. We appreciate any donations at this time. If you'd like to donate, you can click the box. Even the little things make a difference, or donate through our website or send a check. We are grateful for all donations, great and small. And we do have some announcements. Bear with me. We have 3 services on Sunday. We have this one, the 10 o'clock online. We have the same 10 o'clock service in person at the Journey Within. And if you come in person, you get to have donuts and coffee afterwards with fellowship. We'd love to have you. Sunday evening tonight, we have a 6:30 service. And of course, on Wednesday, there's a healing service at 7:30 p.m. So please, always in inclement weather, if you're coming to the Journey Within, check the announcements on the website in case of great snow. So let me just give you a thumbnail sketch of the announcements at the Journey Within. Know that they're all on the website as well. Every Wednesday, starting January 17th, the first, third, and Wednesdays of each month, we have Eugenia Bushman, who does a community meditation. Today, January 28th at 12 noon in person, there is the healing class, and you can become a healer in person at the 10 o'clock service, so please join us. So I'll run through these. February 9th, in Service to Spirit with Christine Morgan, wonderful teacher from Australia. February 12th, there's a demonstration of mediumship with the Journey Within advanced students. February 14th, evidential private reading workshop with Simone Key from the UK. February 17th, Angels, Guides, and the Afterlife with Kevin Todishi from the Edgar Casey Center. February 18th, the Heart Bath for Better Mediumship with Pamela Meredith. February 23rd, online, it's a Friday night, demonstration of mediumship with Pastor Joe, myself, Ellen Shander, and Lori Sheridan. February 24th, there begins a 10-month intermediate advanced media mentorship program online with Paul Jacobs. If you're interested, register early. It's only for 16 students. March 3rd and 10th, the Confidence Clinic with Pamela Meredith. March 8th, Understanding and Delivering a Spiritual Address with Christine Morgan. March 11th, a demonstration of mediumship with the Journey Within advanced students. We're almost there. March 15th, demonstration and mediumship, I believe it's Friday night, with Pastor Joe, Bonnie Grossman, and Laura Wooster. Now, the in-person meetings are today, January 28th, spiritual healing class, and beginning February 4th, mediumship development classes in person, all levels, with Pastor Joe and guest teachers, the first and third Sundays of the month. Very grateful to have that. February 25th, the Heart Bath for Better Mediumship, and there will be many demonstrations in person at the Journey Within, starting, I believe, at 12 o'clock some Sundays, so please join us, 12 to 1:30 in person, they'll be announced. And of course, April 18th, 22 intermediate advanced level mediumship training workshop with Paul Jacobs in person, and again, his advanced professional level mediumship training. So I hope you've memorized all of those, which I know you haven't, but please go to the website. They're all there, but it was just to whet your interests and know that we have so many things going at the Journey Within, and it's a pleasure online and in person. So now we are going to start the demonstration of mediumship. And it's, as a spiritualist church, we do believe in the continuity of life. As the medium brings forth a body of evidence of a deceased loved one, and you can take 90% of what has been said in the exact way that the medium has said it. Please don't make an aunt or brother. Please raise your little digital hand, usually located at the bottom of the screen. And I would love it if you would right now. Some people just raise your hand so we know that it works. Just see. Oh, look, lots of people raise their hands. Thank you so much. I'm going to lower them. Great. Thank you. And so if you raise your hand, but you cannot continue to take the next pieces of evidence, then please lower your hand so we can get to the right recipient as soon as possible. And of course, it's up to the medium to decide and to discern who they feel the recipient is. And if you're invited to speak, please, and you can't unmute or having difficulty, type in the chat box. Let's hope that doesn't happen today. So we will listen to a song in preparation for the demonstration. Please sit back. Please join us in our message prayer. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Welcome, Reverend Joe.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take control of the camera, if you don't mind, for a second. And then I'll give it back to you when I'm done. Okay. All right. If you, I want you to pay attention, please, to the information mostly. And the picture may come into play as well. But I may talk about dad and end up drawing mom. That's what happens sometimes. I draw on the next door neighbor's mom sometimes. So I'm trying to see who I can see in my mind's eye and draw them, or be impressed by them to draw. So if you would pay attention to that, I would appreciate it. And if you can understand most of it, then raise that little electronic hand. And Ellen, could you help me with that? Because I don't see those very.
Yes, I'll tell you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And I always start with the prayer that I wrote back when I was in the seminary and terrified of all this stuff. But I've learned over the days I don't need that protection, and I'm much more um, faithful and trust Spirit. So, Almighty God, Holy Spirit, be down upon us, innocent through us in every way. I thank you for bringing all these wonderful folks together with us today. I ask you to surround us with the white light of your love and to pierce our hearts and souls with that love. And as you do, I ask love and spirit be with us with all possible, especially those around about the folks that are here today. As you step in with me, you can use me any way you wish, as long as you do it with love, light, and respect. Please show yourselves to me, help me understand who you are, what you were like in life, what you didn't like, what happened to you. Any information you have for them, for their upliftment, the discernment of well-being, purpose, path, happiness, and joy would be appreciated. It's the name of all that is holy, all the angels and saints, teachers, guides, loved ones, and prophets that have come before us to pave the way. And I ask this day for nothing but your highest and best, your peace, your patience and tolerance, your insight and well-being, your strength and your fortitude, your love, your light, especially your truth. Amen. I have a woman in spirit that is insistent upon being with me. There was a couple of men there as well, but I want to say this woman has gotten my attention, and I feel that as she blends with me, she shows me herself as older. She did live a pretty full life. She keeps giving me double eights, and I keep thinking about piano when I see 88. I think of the keys of a piano, so that comes to my mind as I'm talking to her that perhaps there is a piano in the midst here. But I look at her with she had great beauty in her life, great beauty as a young person. She was a little bit nervous in the service and constantly worried as she got older. I do think she worried about her children, her grandchildren. I do think she had both. And she comes for someone here that really she wants to get a message to. So I'm going to continue to kind of bring her forward as I work with her. I do want to mention the name Carol for some reason, and I'm just going to write that down over here. Um, it's around her somehow, Carol, Catherine, something like that. And I want to mention that as well. She holds herself well. She holds herself with dignity, and she's not the kind of person that would want to be snuck up on, if you will. You don't just come to the house unannounced. You know, you let people know where you are. There's a way of manners about her. She would have been quite upset with people that just were ill-mannered, if you will. She seems to be intelligent. She seems to be educated. I think she could have had more education, but I think she started having children a bit younger. So I'm going to say that she kind of became the mom and the homemaker, if you will, quite early on. I do think she worked outside the house, and she even took on work later on in life because she was very much a giver and very, very compassionate towards other people. She does have a faith that's strong. And I'm just going to say to you, I'm going to begin to draw her. I don't think she's wanting me to draw her elderly, but I'm going to do my best to keep her. I do think she was not well at the end. I think she was suffering quite a bit. And so I've got to get us like maybe a darker pencil here so that people can see it on the monitor here. So um, I think she would have really been one who fought a good fight towards the end. She did not feel well, and she's not a great patient. She's almost apologizing for being a bit snippy towards the end. Um, and I will give her that, but I also know that she was suffering pretty heavily at times, and her legs, her feet, her neuropathy, if you will, kind of was intense, and so it was really quite quite hard to deal with at the end. She definitely says she has better pictures than this, but she's showing me during that time, so probably in her late 80s, and really maybe even a little older than that, because I keep getting the piano with the 88, so I'm almost thinking that she might have been a bit older. Um, Her hair was thinning, although she did the puffing thing a little bit to kind of keep it keep it showing. And she said she was a woman that she had a bit of size through her 50s and 60s, but then she started to wane down and lose weight, and she kept it in her legs a little bit, and she tells me that they were painful. So um, not a not really complaining so much, but she has this way about her where she's saying, "I wish I was a little bit less less pain and less ornery at times." I don't think she really took it out too badly on people, but she knew and felt bad when she couldn't uh, couldn't bear the pain and became more demanding or whatever. That's what she's talking about. I like her because she's real, and she's got a teacher's attitude. Like she wants to kind of pass on the information and give others. So as much as she's not even smiling right now, I do think she's happy where she is, and I'm just going to try to change that to a smile. But I think there's some pictures of her later on when she was kind of suffering, and she has these jowls and a little bit of necklines and things like this that she doesn't really want me to show you, but she gives them to me much the same anyway. If you'd also to understand this, you would understand either I want to say there is either a Brenda or a Barbara, so that type of sound here as well. So I'm just going to mention that as well. Can anybody, are there any hands up yet, Ellen?
Yes, we have 4 hands: Amanda, Janice, Sheila, Lori, oh, Kimberly, and another Lori.
Oh, they're all up there. Okay. So I do want them all to kind of look at the picture and see if they recognize it, because I do believe this is the woman I am talking to, and she's kind of showing me herself. And I like the fact that she's um, kind of giving me the details. She said her ears got big after a while too. She liked some jewelry, but she's very simple with it. She didn't overdo it, you know. She liked to have a nice blouse and just simple. She's not trying to be Miss Hollywood, if you will. She's a simple woman with a great deal of knowledge and wants to just be helpful to others. And so I think she's quite serious, though. I don't think she's the kind of person that would deal well with baloney. She would not. That would not go over well with her. So I'm going to mention that as well. Um, if you would understand her also, let me say that there is an Anne or Anne Marie around her, and she's talking about her. This could even be here in this world because I'm not seeing another woman step forward with this. So do we still have 5 hands or so?
We have, we do have 5 hands, yes.
Still, okay. All right. Let me go along a little further because I want to kind of hone it down.
Please put your hand down if you can't take most or all of what.
Yeah, 99% of it. If you can take it all, then great. Let me say that there's a necklace that was left behind, and I do believe that there's a crucifix upon it, like a small cross. And I do believe it was gold with a very thin chain. And she said they wanted to put it with me. In other words, bury her with it, but she wanted someone to have it, so it was taken off at the last minute and kind of left to somebody here. So I'm going to kind of mention that as well. Now there is teachers in the family. She talks about the pride in that, the pride in having a teaching, and so I'm going to mention that as well. And I'm inputting some kind of a looks more like a clip-on to me with this. She's got a very, very strong face and strong presence, if you will. And I do think that she may have been involved with some administration or something at one time because she could be very bossy, and authoritarian. I want to say not so much mean, but she knew what needed to be done, so she was very much in control. And you would understand that about her too, even with family. She's the one kind of calling the shots, if you will. So I do want to mention that.
Down to 3.
We're down to three. Can I speak to these people if possible, please?
You have Janice, Sheila, and Amanda. Who would you like?
Um, Let me speak to Janet because I have the Jane.
Janice, you can speak, I think.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, Janice. How about you?
Good. I can take everything. I know the Carol, I know the Anne, I know the Barbara, the cross, I have it, and it's gold on a thin chain.
Okay.
88, we did play piano, but her namesake was born in 88 as well, since you kept bringing up 88 a lot.
Yeah.
Um, her faith, she did wear clip-on earrings. She was very
Mm.
simple, always a blouse, did not show up at the house unless you gave her plenty of notice to get out of the house coat.
Mhm.
Trying
Do
to
you
think of all the stuff you said. It's like you
do you
nailed her
recognize?
to a
Do you
T.
recognize the picture at all?
Yes, I do.
And do you recognize this pin? Do you see that pin down here? Kind of like a.
Actually, I do, and I have it. And the other necklace there is another necklace, but I have her pin. It's yeah, it looks like that. It's feathery and it goes out like that.
Okay. Now, I also, if you'd stay with me just for a moment, I'll allow the other two just to speak real briefly, but I think I'm with you, Janice. And I thought I heard your name in the midst of all the things that were going on. So if you'd stay with me, I appreciate that very much. Okay. So
Okay.
just begin. Um,
We only have one other person named
okay,
Sheila.
that one other person, if I could just hear the sound of their voice, and I think I'm with Janice though, and I really think I'll
She-
just say hello and thank you. How's that? So Sheila, how are you?
Hi, Joe. Good,
Thank you.
thank you.
Do you understand everything?
The only thing I don't understand is Brenda or Barbara. Uh,
Okay,
Everything else,
made sense to you.
yeah, the teacher, the
Okay.
clowns, the men that.
Sheila, I'm gonna say thank you,
Oh,
but
okay,
I really appreciate it, but I don't want you to tell me anything more just in case one of your people comes through in the next reading, okay? So I'm
yes,
just gonna let that go for a minute, and I'm grateful for you to participate like that, but I do think I'm with Janice. Her name was very strong in my head almost the whole time, and so I'm just gonna kind of uh allow her, okay? So
of
thank you.
course.
Janice, if you're still with me, will you work with me, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And you are understanding the picture quite well, right? You're
Correct.
recognizing her? She's
Yes.
a tough lady. I would have liked her a lot because I would have known what I was dealing with, you know? She's not going to let me slide. You know, she's
Yep.
kind of put me to task, if you will, you know, and especially she didn't like flim flam men. She's not
No.
that kind of gal. I really appreciate the love that she gave family was often just in things she did, not necessarily buying gifts. Okay, like giving advice and showing up and helping out and that type of thing. And she would expect it of everybody. She would, you know, she was kind of strong that way where if I'm doing it, you can do it, that type of thing, you can show up and help, right?
Correct. Yep.
And if you didn't, you might hear about it.
See
So
or get a cold shoulder a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, a little bit of the silent treatment, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk about that just for a second, but you know, I don't know if she was active back in the day, back in maybe Korea or something like that, where she was active in something to support the military, if you will. But she talks about that, so I do need to mention that either that she was, married to somebody who had that. So I just need to mention that, okay?
Yes,
Uh,
there's
and that
several
makes sense,
people.
doesn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And who's Robert? Can I ask you that?
We have a lot of Roberts in our family. They go
Okay.
by Robert or Bobby's because typical Irish Catholic family. There's a lot of them.
Okay, okay. Well, I just want you to know that she's mentioning that as well, and I do think she's talking about somebody here as well that she wants to kind of um give some give some credit to and just let you know that she's around them, okay?
Okay.
Now, I also want to say to you, Oakwood Terrace or Oakwood Drive, does that make
We
sense?
lived on 7 Oak Way Drive.
Thank you. And so, and thanks for giving me the number because I was going for that next.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I feel like she has a lot of fond memories and she's been around quite a bit. And she wants to come in any way she can possibly come. So there are signs that people are attempting to get and attempting to do, but she's saying kind of look outside the box for that. She definitely wants to show some hawks or eagles, and that's important to her. So I'm going to kind of mention that as well. I do think she has blue eyes or bluish green eyes. It's kind of like they're a little brighter. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, there were more of depending on the sunlight. Yeah, that hazel
They're
blue.
yeah, kind of like my dad's. My dad's were like green sometimes, and then So I'm just going to kind of look at, and I just noticed I don't have a green pencil, so we're going to get blue. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Um, I know that she said she came here with a message. So I don't normally, go into silly messages or anything like that. What I want to do is say the best message is that where life is continuous. However, she says that recently you've been through a lot and you need to kind of need to call upon her. She wants you to call upon her because she can help you to manage things much more succinctly and much more easily. And that if you keep her in mind, she would love to be the helper and love to be the teacher in the midst of it all. Does that make sense to you, please?
Yeah, I was actually having a conversation with her this morning about that.
Good deal. Then you're doing the right thing and we're all good, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave that with you with light and love. And if you want to take a picture, snapshot of that right now, go right ahead.
I will do so.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. She was faithful, but she wasn't pushing it at anybody, was she?
No, her faith was her faith.
Yeah, she kept it to herself pretty much.
Yep.
I'm just going to sign it for you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much for taking that. God bless you. Be well.
Thank
Okay.
you. God bless you. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks. Well, give me a moment, folks. Let's go into my little quiet space here. Thank you. I hear the name Dean or Dennis. I just need to mention that. It's like maybe Dan. It's very strong, but I'm going to say that I also have a gentleman with me who's kind of calling that name out. I'm not sure that it's his name because the way he's calling it out, it's almost as if he wants to speak to somebody here or speak about somebody here that he's like praying for. He seems to be a very busy man in spirit. I think he was a busy guy in life too. I think he's the kind of person that would have he's an upstanding guy. He's the kind of person I'd shake his hand and I know from the squeeze of the hand that he's honest and he's like trying to put his best foot forward. He says he didn't always get it right. He says when he was younger, he screwed up a couple of times, but that he finally got it straight. I do think there's military connections with him, and maybe it's the military that disciplined him a little bit to get out of his troubles, because I think he was running a little bit running the streets when he was younger. I feel like he's got a tough edge to him because I don't think he had an easy life when he was young. He's showing me that it was, some weeks were better than others, some days were better than others, but I do think he grew up around some troubles. And so he just kind of hung in there, sometimes quietly and just tough as nails in the way he grew up. I think he became gentler over time in the years of his life. I do think he could have had more time in life. I feel like he's only around my age. I'm 68. He's about my height, 5'10", and shrinking. He seems to have a very, very strong, loving attitude towards people. Like when he made friends, he was loyal to his friends. He was loyal in the way he was. Cars were important to him. He shows me a number of them. So I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute. So, am I in your garage or am I at a dealership or am I just going through life seeing the cars you own? There's a number of them. He did like kind of the classic car, if you will. Like I saw an old Chevy type of thing, like a little 56 or 55 Chevy there. So that was important to him back when. He is happy where he is. He's saying that he is trying to come around because there's been a new addition to the family. So I'm going to say there must be a child that's been come into the world here in the last 5 years or so. I also want to say that as he talks about it, he also talks about a Ricky. So I'm just going to write those names down, Ricky and Dan, if you will. He's a strong-minded person, maybe even a bit stubborn. I don't think he deals well with baloney. He doesn't deal well with people who are full of it. He really he'll call them out. It takes a little bit. He doesn't want to talk out of turn, but if he sees somebody hurting somebody else or something like that, he's the kind of guy that would speak up. Gives the shirt off his back. He just not going to give people two chances to burn him over, or get him get under his skin. He's enough's enough type of thing with him. So he does have patience for most people, but not for everybody. And he has that list. He's calling out my name, which is important. My full name is Joseph Patrick John, so it's coming in spinning. So I want to go to either Joe or James, something like that. So I want to mention that as well. I'm going to draw him because now that he's coming to me, he's got a way about him. He still had hair, which is, I'm jealous of course. But he's, kind of holds it back a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of draw this as fast as I possibly can because I know time is short. But I want to get him seen, if you will. I think he's the kind of man that would have paid attention to politics, but he didn't have much love for those involved. How's that? He would have had his complaints about it, if you will. He's got a bit of a bump in his nose, and I do think there's Italian around this, only because of the way he showed me this kind of the street scene, if you will. He's just kind of knew that there was, you kind of watch your own and you hang with the guys kind of thing. So I do need to mention that. He said he had a bit of a schnoz when he got older, it got a little bigger, and he just wants to say thank you to all those who helped him towards the end. I do think he had some heart issues, and that's the bigger area of what happened to him towards the end. I also think that his lungs were really bad. So it's almost like a COPD situation because I'm having a lot of trouble breathing. I would have needed, either oxygen or CPAP or something. Just my breathing's just so rough. He shows me that he would have worked very hard, and he had a number of jobs before he finally landed something where he was very entrepreneurial in a way too. Like he liked to work for himself. He liked to kind of do for himself. He had to get away from the troubles, if you will, of life. I do think that there may have been somebody who was heavily alcoholic in the family that made his life a little bit harder, if you will. And so I'm going to just mention that also. He's telling me these stories, and I'm just kind of holding on to him. He liked animals, and I do think he had a dog at one time. I think the dog is with him. I just smelled the dog, so I just know that there's a dog or two actually with him. I don't hear any barking, and I don't speak dog, but there we go. Can anybody take this so far? Any pieces of this? I would say that someone must.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Wait, one person, Georgia.
Okay. Can I speak to Georgia, please, and see if that voice makes sense to me? Hi,
Hi,
Georgia.
Joe.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. What pieces can you take, Georgia?
Well, he definitely would have a dog with him in spirit. His name was Rick, or we called him Uncle Ricky.
Okay. That I wrote down here. And you would understand that he said he didn't always get it right,
That's
Um, but he's also told me a little bit about alcohol or something with troubles with alcohol. I almost thought he was talking about somebody else, but perhaps even himself. He had maybe a trouble for a while there. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, he definitely was reformed alcoholic, and he had a girlfriend that drank.
So he was in recovery or
Yeah,
recovery?
he hadn't had a drink in years. The whole time I knew him, and I knew him for 10 years,
Yeah,
no drinking, but his girlfriend drank every day.
yeah. So it made it tougher to kind of be honest with people and be okay. I don't want to go into the stereotypical things of an alcoholic. What I really want to ask him is what it is. Did you understand the cars when he was younger of having that Chevy and a few other vehicles that he really kind of
Um,
babied a little bit?
I'm sure he had like
Yeah.
when I knew him, he was always souping something up.
Okay. And would you understand this picture at all as it comes together?
Yeah,
And I
it's
want to put glasses on him.
yes,
He would have worn those, right? Quite a bit.
yes.
So I'm just going to put those on him. Um, he seems to want to come around you because he always admired you, because you always had a soul or a soul concern, if you will. And that was something he was chasing that he never could quite grasp, if you will. Okay. And it was
Thank you.
hard for him, but he was trying. Okay. But he admired you because you showed faith even as a child. You understand that?
Yes.
So I want you to know that he comes around you to help you. He says you've got a lot of talent and you've got a lot of fortitude. You keep getting up even when you get knocked down. And he admires that more than anything. He's saying, thank you for being you. Thank you for all the good you do for others. So there's almost like either he's talking about you being a healer or, you know, it being that compassionate. I'm correct about that, aren't I?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So I want you to know that when you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or you're not having a great day, okay, which all of us they have those kind of days, that he's the one you should be praying to because I think he will step in and help you. Okay?
Oh
Because
yeah,
he
thank you.
admires you that much. Okay? He met a lot of people in his life. He might not want much to do with any of them, but with you, he felt like he finally met somebody that really had a genuine caring and concern for others. Okay.
Oh,
So,
thank you for saying that.
so I really believe that he means that and he wants you to know that. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of do that. Now, his lungs and heart were real bad, weren't they?
Yes.
He was on oxygen for a while towards
He
the end.
yeah, he
He could
was
have more time in life too. He's not an old guy, is he?
no, he
No.
wasn't old.
Yeah.
He had when he was diagnosed with liver cancer,
Yeah.
it already spread all over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's affecting everything. That process between the liver and the lungs. He was not getting much oxygen either. So I'm just going to say to you that he comes with a great deal of love for you, and he wants you to know that he's around you and that you need to begin to trust his presence with you as positive as really trying to bring you into your own. Okay.
yeah, thank
And
you so much.
that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay. For the sake of time, I'm going to say thank you to you. Um, let me go one step further, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Is there something about um did he go and move to like South Carolina for a while or something like that?
I
By the
uh
water? Hmm?
well, we live in Florida.
Okay. That's where I wanted to go, Florida or somewhere down there. I'm near the water, and he had a great deal of love for that. He wished he had gotten more use out of it in life, but he says, don't forget it's there. That salt water is very healing. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
if you
very sweet.
get by the ocean and soak it in, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So use it for your meditation or whatever, okay?
Yes, well, thank
All
you.
right. Well, thank you very much for taking the message, and I wish you well, and thank you very much for attending our service this morning.
Thank
Much
you.
peace, okay? God bless. Peace. You want to take a picture of this, you may.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't. Go ahead. My dad's trying to help me take a picture.
Wrong button.
Says you, yeah. I'll give it one more shot.
Okay.
New computer, but yeah, I just wanted to
Okay.
share with everyone that Rick was one of my best friends down here. I moved from New Jersey, Pompton Lakes,
Okay.
to Florida about 10 years ago. And I made friends with Rick through another friend, and he was so hard to become friends with. He was very difficult. He didn't let anybody in.
Now I'm
And
gonna put the secret. Got it.
there was a
Yeah.
day where he decided to let me in, and he definitely let my dog in and my daughter in. And he was a very special person to us. He acted much like a grandfather to my daughter.
Right.
And he
And
also,
you see the essence in the picture, right?
yes, I do.
Good. And who's Michael?
Michael. Mm,
He just
uh,
wants to say hello to him, Mike. I don't know if that's somebody around him or somebody that he was
okay.
helping out. So if you remember who that is, um, just give him a shout out, okay?
All right, sounds wonderful.
All right. Many blessings. Thanks.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
you too. Thank you.
Have a nice day. Peace.
You too. Bye-bye.
Now I got to give you back the, there we go.
Great.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Just make
I
sure
appreciate it.
I am back in. Okay, great. That was an amazing demonstration of mediumship. Amazing. How you bring people to life like that is just beautiful. It touches all of us.
Thank you.
I'm kind of in awe every time I watch you work. So thank you.
Be in awe of them. Because let's do it.
I am. So thank you
Okay.
again, Jill, for everything that you do for the journey within and your leadership, and as we go through and go forward in this monster world with strength and heart. So I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, to end the service with prayer, and then we'll play the closing song, and I hope you all enjoy it. I'm going to have a magnificent and heartwarming week with all the little things. So
Thank you very much, Ellen. As we take the next gentle breath that we are grateful for, I ask that our spirit loved ones, those who are still alive and well beyond this world, hold us close. Maybe kiss our cheek or touch our hand. Give us a hug. Let the energy be known around us. Come into our dreams. I ask that they uplift us. Help us to slow down. Get a sense of the beauty around us, the intricacies and the little things that make up the miracles of the world. Help us to live within that miracle of life and appreciate each and every day. Help us to be mindful of all those around the world, sick and suffering, abandoned, marginalized, poor and suffering and hungry. Help us to be the light, the candle in the room that exposes the truth of it all, but also the pathways of solution, the pathways of mindfulness and loving one another. I thank you today, all of you. If you could just love somebody this week, just a little bit, I thank you, because you'll change the world. Thank you. Amen. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Be well.